did you play with?
Aiden, when I was your age, we didn't have many toys. But I did have a tricycle. I had an electric train set, which my aunts bought for me from the United States. And because I lived on the farm, we had lots of pets. We probably had 3 or 4 cats, 2 or 3 dogs. We had a whole bunch of rabbits and all the farm animals. So we had lots of pets to play with. Not many toys though.
How did you get to school?
Every day I had to catch a yellow bus to go to school. And because I was on the bus had to pick up a whole bunch of other kids. And it took an hour to go to school on the bus. And in the wintertime, sometimes the bus would get stuck in a snowbank. And then the poor bus driver, he had to go get a farmer with his tractor and a chain and pull the bus out of the snowbank so we could continue going to school. But it was fun. We enjoyed the bus a lot.
What kind of playground equipment did you have when at school?
The playground equipment were a lot similar than what you have now. We had swings, we had slides, we had sandboxes, and we had a merry-go-round. And everybody enjoyed going on the merry-go-round, but because it was made by somebody's dad, it didn't have very many safety features. And because of that, a lot of kids would get hurt on it, but the kids still played on it because it was fun.
What kind of electronics did you have? TV?
In those days, we were one of the first farmers to get a TV, and it was black and white, not a color TV at all. And in those days, we only had 2 channels, Channel 3 and Channel 5. That was CFRN, Sunwapta, and I think CBC was Channel 5. So if you couldn't find what you wanted on those 2 channels, too bad. That's all you had. And because we lived so far away from Edmonton, we had a big antenna on top of our house. And on the days where the weather was going to be raining or not very nice, and you'd be trying to watch TV, there was a lot of snow on the TV that you couldn't see what was actually playing. Sometimes you could barely tell who the actors were. But we still watched it. And our favorite shows were Sunday nights because they had Ed Sullivan and Bonanza. Those were our favorite shows. And because we didn't have a telephone, what my mom and dad would do on the weekends when it was good, they call it good reception, you could see the TV really well. What they would do, they would flick the lights on the house on and off, on and off, on and off. And that was a sign for the neighbors to come on over and watch TV with us because it's good TV tonight. So we had a lot of company that way. And we also had a radio and we had a record player. And the record player would play either 45s or LPs. That was for long play. And the LP records were probably about that big, and they had about 10 or 15 songs on it. And that's all we had. We had no telephone, definitely no computer. Computers weren't even thought of yet. And probably if they had any computers in those days, it would be as big as this house. One computer. But we certainly didn't have no computer, no telephone. But we managed.
What did your clothing look like?
Well, Aiden, my clothing was pretty flashy. I had bell-bottom pants, and I had some pants that were covered in flowers. And the one thing I always wanted to get, but I could never afford it, and neither could my parents, was called a pea jacket. And those are the jackets that the Beatles wore. And I thought if I could have gotten one of those jackets, I'd have been so cool. But one thing I did get, and I was so surprised, one year for Christmas, I got a leather jacket. And it was so cool. And back in those days, I would wear Brill cream in my hair. It was like putting oil all over your hair. And when the kids would bug me and they would go like this to my hair, their hand was all full of grease from the Brill cream. And also Brill cream would go on the collar of my jacket. Oh, it was so bad. But I thought it was pretty cool. And so the other kids.
And Daddy did.